So I've been looking at CCTV remote monitoring solutions for a little while, because we've got things like the hydro intake, which is up the top there. We've got pressures on the turbine that would be really handy to monitor. And then my boy plays outside on his own sometimes because we want to encourage independence. But it'd be nice to just be able to check on him. So I was looking into it, and I've also looked into Raspberry Pi cameras, and I'll go through in the other video why. Well, I might go through that one later, but it was lucky because Reolink reached out to me and said, hey, do you want to check out their CCTV cameras? They're solar powered. And I was like, well, yeah, I mean, I kind of have wanted something like this. And the fact that they're solar powered means you don't have to connect them to, you don't have to wire them in. So I had a look at their website, and then I noticed they have this, which is a nature camera. And I've been after one of these for ages because we've got some pretty spectacular nature around here. We're in the Highlands of Scotland, as you can see. And we had a pine marten 2 days ago just walk straight past the caravan, have a look around, and my wife and son saw it, but I didn't. So there's quite a lot of nature here I'd like to try and see. But I could never, I didn't bite the bullet and get one. So I said, can I try this? And they said, yes. So here we go. We're going to open it, we're going to set it up, we're going to take it to some locations, we're going to do some filming and see what nature we can capture. I'll say the box isn't particularly nature. It's probably the same box they use for all the other cameras. I've got some kind of top packets with bits in. We've got some kind of foam protective board. Then we've got a solar panel, which, yeah, looks pretty cool. I always thought solar panels had a, I thought they were all reflective, but this one looks like it's not. And it's camouflage, which matches the aesthetic we're going for. Some kind of mount stand thing. Oh, they've got a, I was wondering about this. They've got some kind of strap that I'm hoping goes on the back here so that you can wrap it around a tree, because I didn't really want to go and start screwing into all of the trees around here. It's not all that good for the tree, is it? And then I suppose this is the camera itself. Oh no, it's another lid. Oh wow. That's a cover. I suppose this is the same as their CCTV cameras, but camouflaged maybe? I'm not sure. We're going to go through the features later on after we've set it up, so we'll see what it's like. I mean, it looks like a serious bit of kit. I was looking at trail cams and stuff like that, and this looks a lot more serious than a trail cam. But I suppose we'll set it up and see, see what it's like. Oh, I see. Okay, so this I think is the mount for the trees. So you can put the strap on that, and then the camera goes in there like that. Probably upside down, otherwise you're going to have water in that, aren't you? Yeah, you know what, I'm going to insert the SIM card. Oh, brilliant. If this works like I was wondering about the coverage, because if this, does that mean you need a subscription? I don't know. So yeah, I was wondering about the distance, because I was like, we can get this on Wi-Fi close to the house, probably the turbine. But if we have to go all of the way up to the top of the hill, then we're going to have a hard time getting the signal back here. So if this accepts the SIM card, then that will mean it can just communicate on its own. But usually SIM cards mean you need a subscription or a contract of some kind, doesn't it? Okay, that's very nice. It comes with a SIM card. I was putting that out because, not a SIM card, sorry. It comes with an SD card. I wondered if that was going to be a blank, which is why I was kind of not proclaiming success until I got it out. It's got an SD card, it's 32 gigabytes, comes with it, so that's a win. Yeah, this is the other thing. I wondered how long this would be, because some of the trees are small and some of the trees are massive. And this looks like it would fit any tree, and it's elastic, so. And it comes with a smaller one as well. I'm not sure what that is. Is it a backup strap? Right, well, it looks like it's actually barely any setup. I thought I was going to need a bit more than it did. So we've got an antenna or an aerial. That goes on presumably after that's in the case. I'm not going to use that lot. We are going to use the solar panel. So it's just solar panel, camera, antenna, and then you've got the mounting case. So we'll go and set it up. We're going to see how easy that is on my wife's phone or on the PC, because my phone's not very smart. Can't do that kind of thing on it. So we'll go set this up and then we're going to take it somewhere. Okay, I think I've figured out this. This must be for the solar panel, because otherwise how would you mount this? So I think the tripod goes on there, and then maybe the mini strap is for the solar panel.
SIM card cannot be recognized. Please insert the SIM card correctly and restart the camera.
By enabling you to put your own SIM card in, and I've just taken this one out my phone, also comes with a SIM card thing. It does mean that you don't have to subscribe to anything from Reolink. You can just get your own SIM card. Oh no, we've got to wait for the SIM card to register. You have to turn it on and then leave it to blink at you. Okay, we're waiting for something to tell us it works. Kind of reminds me of a Furby. Don't know why. Maybe it's because it's moving on its own.
Not registered on network. Please activate your SIM card and check the signal strength. Network connection succeeded.
Okay, so after messing about for a few minutes, I tried my 3 SIM card. It didn't work. I then tried my wife's EE SIM card. It didn't work. And then I swapped back to 3 and took it outside, and it did work. So 3 works and EE work for SIM cards, but you have to put it outside. So I mean, it's an outdoor camera, so that makes sense. But when I put it inside, it said no network, and I thought it was a duff SIM card or something. But it turns out that it's it just needs to be outside to register. And then when I tried to log it into the PC, that also wouldn't work. So I used the app on my wife's phone, which worked. So I suppose you just need to set this up outside, and a phone, you know, you can use that outside. So the app seems to work better, or at least it just needs to be outside. That's why setting it up out here seemed to work, and the PC probably didn't. Okay, so we're coming out for a wander to find the place to put the first night's worth of recording. And it's kind of handy because I was struggling to figure out how I was going to carry everything, but because it's got that strap in it, I just kind of strapped it around my waist. So if you were taking it, I mean, some of the locations we're going to put this is quite a long way away, and I've got to climb a decent amount to get it. And this one I've got to climb over gullies and rocks and all sorts to get there. So we're going to go set it up, leave it there for tonight, and we'll see what we can capture. Yeah, we'll see what we can capture tonight. So what wildlife do we have here? We know we've seen a pine marten. I've seen plenty of foxes. We've got red deer. We've got barn owls and tawny owls by the dozen that spend a lot of time sitting on top of our caravan and making a right racket. I never thought I'd find owls waking us up at night. We've got, I mean, swifts and house martens and things. I'm not sure we're going to be able to pick them up because they're pretty fast. But some of the larger animals I'm looking forward to, especially the pine marten, because the pine marten is quite rare. I actually intended on putting this on a trail over there, but I've just spotted another area that I've seen that I'm quite keen to set the camera up. So I think we're going to climb up there. And there's a clearing that I'm hoping there's going to be something interesting in. So, to change of mind, we're going to try and jump this stream, and we'll have a look up there. This is one of those forgotten areas that just seems to be left completely wild, but it's a bit of a clearing, so I'm hoping that perhaps some deer will come through this area overnight. So we'll find somewhere to put the camera up now. Alright, so we've got it on the fence. Seems to be connected on the app. I didn't need to do anything, just turn the app on. It's got good 4G signal. The solar panel could probably be placed somewhere better, but this is my first go, so we're just going to see if this is okay. I wanted it to be clearly in the way of the sun, not you know, all over the place. So unless there's an animal right down here, I think we'll be okay. It's going to be interesting to see if it startles anything, because it's quite low. But it is handy. If I hadn't seen that picture about connecting it to a fence post, I'm not sure it would have occurred to me. I know it's obvious, but I would have been looking for a tree, and there's might have to end up climbing up one if I need to get it high enough. So I'm going to see what we get overnight and come back tomorrow and hopefully caught something. I haven't reviewed any footage, so I don't know what we've got, but we're going to move it to the second location now, and then we'll keep doing that. And we'll have a look at all the footage in the end. Colour of the water is just so nice here. It's like ginger beer or something. And then these areas where it's really deep, it goes almost black. There's this trail that runs through these spruce and larch trees, and it runs all the way along the side of the river. And there's what looks like burrows and things on the sides. So I'm hoping that if we put it here, something, there's a fence just here as well. So if it's traveling this way, and the trail is fairly well trodden, I'm just hoping it's not only sheep. We've got something else more interesting. So we'll put it here and see what we can't get. The good thing about the solar panel is that it's got this really long cable. So if I wasn't putting it on this side of the trail, and the best sun's probably over there, you could string the cable across, and you know, you don't have to put the solar panel right next to it. I don't want to risk tripping any animals over if it gets blown down or something, so I'm just going to leave it up here, but that is quite a handy point. something that's pretty handy about the remote monitoring. I wondered if I might prefer one that didn't have a SIM card because of the added subscription costs and SIM card costs and stuff. But thing is, we put it fairly far away from the home, and being able to monitor it on the phone to see if you've got anything, because the first 2 nights we didn't have anything, and the first location we didn't have anything. So it is quite handy, because with the motion sensor, you can just check on the phone and know if it's captured anything. So I've come out today because we did catch something last night, and now I know that we've seen something, we can move it. But if you weren't placing it around like I am to kind of place the camera, and you wanted to know when you've spotted something, it just saved that disappointment of coming out here every day to check the footage manually and then realise that there's nothing there. So we're on forestry land at the minute, and there's this trail through here and a sort of stream, the waterfall down there, and I've heard quite a lot of deer up here, so I'm kind of hoping we might capture something. But I always thought the camouflage was for, you know, animals, so animals don't spot it, but actually for humans as well, because if somebody else is out here, you don't really want your kit going missing, do you? So it's kind of handy. I mean, you'd see it if you walk straight past it, because it's, you know, it's fairly obvious, but at least you're not going to see this glowing white or some other colour camera from ages away. So actually, I mean, if it's a trail cam, it's going to be camouflage, isn't it? Because that's all part of the design. But I thought about it and I was like, it's kind of handy in more than one way. I'm going to go back now because I'm getting eaten by midges. It's really still over here. Right, so let's have a look at the specs. It's got 4K 8 megapixel camera, which looks pretty good. The interesting thing here is it's got night vision, which I wasn't sure, and it looks pretty nice quality. I've read somewhere in the statistics that it's 10 meters night vision, so it's actually pretty good. It's got smart detection, so you can it can auto detect the animals. You can move it if you spot one, and then it shows you here where you can mount it. So we're going to mount it to a tree like it does there, with the solar panel strapped around the branch. You can mount it on a roof. Fence post is handy. Obviously you can screw it anywhere, like a wall or something there, and it's got another picture of it around a tree. Solar energy is, this is a 6 watt. It's got a slightly rubbery texture to it as well, which is nice. 6 watt, or well, it says here 5.8 watt, 6 volt solar panel, and I think I read somewhere else it's got a 6,000 milliamp hour battery in here, so we should be okay with that. The actual specifications, let's look here. I think the only thing that surprised me here, it's got USB type C, which is handy. It also does audio, which is nice, because sometimes you get CCTV cameras and they don't do the audio. This one does. I mean, I'll just put these specifications on the screen because you don't need me to sit here and read out the specifications on the internet. But yeah, 6,000 milliamp hour battery. So this is the second last location that we're going to go for. Right, we're going to go get it now for moving it to the final place, which is going to be on our barn, so that we can hopefully capture some owls if they're about. But what's it like? What's it like to use? I've had it running now for 2 weeks, near enough, and it's quite fun. It's getting up every morning and having a look at my wife's phone on the app to see what kind of things we've seen. Yes, it's enjoyable. It's a fun thing to have a look at, and I'm not even sure you need to be in the Highlands of Scotland. It's kind of like perhaps appealing to our primal senses, because it's as close to hunting as you can get, perhaps in the modern day. And if you've got a garden, you're still going to have interesting things like hedgehogs, foxes, deer. Something on my nose, haven't I? You don't necessarily need the Highlands of Scotland to find some interesting wildlife. Like I've said, I've had it for 2 weeks. and I've had it on for 2 weeks constantly, apart from when I've moved it, which has only taken me a couple of minutes. Haven't charged it, and I think when I got it out the case, I probably should have charged it, but I don't think I did. And the battery's still at 60%, which is really good because that solar panel, apart from that first day where we had it in the clear sun, and I don't think that charged it all the way up. We've had it in pretty pants locations since, like you'll see. They've been in really shady spots. So the battery and the solar panel are doing a really good job of keeping that charged up. The app's pretty good. It's designed, I think, for their other cameras as well. So if I had other cameras to test together, I'd say it'd be pretty handy, because with only one camera linked into it, you can tell that it's designed to monitor multiples, because you've got kind of space where the other cameras would go. But you can move it remotely. So if it's not in the place you'd like, you can remotely adjust the direction it's pointing. That's pretty useful. You can check through the motion sensor, you know, it kind of triggers a file, saves it, and you can scan through that to see what you've actually got, so you don't have to manually scrub through any data. You can see a live feed, which is handy, because when I go back, I just check that it is actually connected. Tells you the battery data, so the app's definitely handy if you've got it any distance from the home, or even if it's just bad weather and it's raining out here and you don't really want to come out and check. But the app's pretty good to use. Camera itself, barely any setup as far as once you've got the SIM card and stuff in, you've got it set up on the PC, which is fairly painless as long as you've got good signal for your SIM card to get. You just need to take it out. I turn it off in between times I move it, but one thing I would say is just remember to turn it back on, which I didn't do. You see how dark it is here? Like, this is where the solar panel has been, and it's been charging fine. So yeah, remember to turn it back on, because one time, like, you can't remotely control it if you haven't turned it on. So one time I forgot to turn it on. If you turn it off, and that's pretty annoying, so you have to come all the way back out to turn it back on. So there's a button on the back here that you just switch. So I'd remember to do that. But it's pretty easy setup. You just bring it out, you strap it down. It kind of does a little movement thing to tell you that it's, well, I suppose it's picking up its signal, so that's kind of handy. So yes, a bit of fun really. That's what I'd say. It's a nice way to wake up, checking what you've potentially found. The price is 240 quid, down from 280 quid at the minute. I think we've got a bit of a sale on. And I had a look at some comparisons. This is the first nature camera I've ever used or ever played with. And I'd say it's pretty user friendly. So if this is the first one you're going to get, this might be a good one to look at. The other ones that I Googled, you can get them cheaper. But when I looked into the specs, they were mostly 1080p or 2K resolution. So, you know, a lower resolution. They weren't necessarily cellular connectivity. They were kind of a smaller thing. They were a very different device. And as soon as I started looking at 4K cellular, they were very comparable prices. I didn't actually find anything like this. There probably is if you dive deeper, but most cameras like this kind of look like a box with a camera lens slapped on the front. They're not something as dedicated as this. So price is pretty comparable for other 4K cellular devices. I mean, we all want everything to be as cheap as it possibly can be, so 240 quid is not a throwaway amount of money, but what you're getting here is, like, it feels serious. It feels like a CCTV camera, which is what it is. I think it's a CCTV camera that has nature trail cam abilities to it, but it feels like that, like it's a proper thing instead of a toy. I mean, you could, I suppose, use this as a CCTV camera. I don't know if there's any differences in the software. I'll have to have a look at that when they actually send me the normal CCTV camera. But yeah, I'd say, I mean, 240 quid, you'll have to make your own mind up if that's a lot of money or not for something like this, but it is definitely a good bit of kit. So for the final location, I'm going to try and capture some owls, but they're all over the place, so I'm not really sure. I was going to put it up on the barn one of the barn poles, but I suspect they'll probably land on top of the barn. So I'm going to put it on this telegraph pole right in the middle of our plot instead, and I'm going to try and point it. Got lots of fence posts around the middle of the plot, so I'm hoping that they're going to land on a couple of those, and they, I suspect, try and grab the mice and voles as they run across these paths that I've mown through the lawn. So we'll see if we can't grab something in the garden. It's pretty sticky, so I've got some plastic to just try and getting a bit better at doing this strap up one-handed now that I've done it a few times. Okay, so this is one complaint I've got about this, and I'm just about to discover it. This is the first time where I've come to put this onto a tree. In this case, it's a telegraph pole, which isn't that big, but this strap on the solar panel is not very big, and so far I've managed to find trees that I can just about fit it round, but there will be occasions where you want to put it on a big oak in the middle of a field or something, and you just can't get this strap around it because it only just about does a fence post, and right now maybe I can think of a way of trying to fix this, but the strap itself won't reach around there, so I can't mount that anymore. So I'm going to have to try and find a way to do this manually, which I'll find a solution to it. But it's just worth mentioning is that is too short for most trees. You know, given the cable's so long, I'm actually just gonna put this on the floor because it's clear we're in the garden, so you know we've got clear skies, so rather than start trying to fix this, I'm just going to rest it on the floor. There's some incredible insects here. You really, like, this is one thing you probably won't get in places that aren't quite as wild as the Highlands. I'm sure you can't see them here, but tiny beetles, like the variety of beetles here. We've got kind of purple shelled, you know, like petrol, iridescent, is that what we call them? Beetles. We've got these beetles with these long heads that are like snails. They've got the beetle body and then like a very long head and two kind of antennas or eyes or something. But it's just the insect wildlife here is spectacular. It doesn't mean you get eaten by midges constantly, and these horrible big flies, I think they're called clegs or something, these other flies that seem to love gnawing on you. But I wish we could get a CCTV, you know, an nature camera for tiny animals, because it'd be really interesting to see those. So I haven't looked at the footage until I just uploaded it into the video for you guys, and we've done pretty well, haven't we? We didn't get anything on that last night with the owls because it was pretty wet last night. I wondered if they stayed away. But we got fox, we got some deer, or perhaps the same deer twice, and it looks like we've got a pine marten at the end, which is really great because I didn't actually think we were going to capture one of those. I've noticed so we startled the fox, didn't we? Which was probably the infrared light turning on, which is interesting because it seems like foxes can see that, or he got close enough and then he suddenly realized there was something there that wasn't supposed to be and just ran away. And also the timing when it turns on is slightly too late. I think that's why we got sort of the back end of the animals instead of them arriving. We got sort of halfway through, but that might be something to do with the distance of the motion sensor, or more likely it's probably the placement of the camera, because I kind of put it across the trails in most cases. Perhaps it needs to be focused a lot better at where the nature may come from. So if I were to do it again, I'd probably be more careful with the placement. But this is all about experimentation, isn't it? I suppose you learn when you do it. So yeah, I'm pretty pleased with those results. So closing thoughts on this. Why would you, wow. What is that, chap? It's like a bee, but I don't want to knock him off. It probably is just a bee, actually, just he's white instead of orange. So why, yeah, closing thoughts. Why would you want to get one of these? I think the big thing about this is that it's really fun. So if you've got kids or you've got grandkids, then taking them out on a weekend and setting this up, trying to find somewhere and perhaps showing them the trails through the woods or through your garden, or the spots you're likely to have hedgehogs. That's quite fun because you can do the exploring and find that. The fun of coming up in the morning, getting out with them and being like, oh, come on, let's go and have a look what we've caught on camera. And you go and have a look at the app and you can see it's got kind of like a page where there's tells you the timestamps, and it shows you where the clips are, what kind of time they were. So you kind of, it's like you've got something to open then. You have to click on the video and it kind of shows you what it is. So that's really quite fun. So I think if you've got kids, or like I say, grandkids, this would be a really good experience. The thing I thought, and it's a bit of a risk sometimes with kids, is if you're like, oh, let's go out and see if we can spot some deer or some wildlife. The likelihood of seeing it is slim, unless you're really keen on this, perhaps really good, ghillie suit, all that kind of stuff. The likelihood of taking your kid, especially if they're young, somewhere where you can definitely spot wild wildlife, without going to a zoo or something, you'd be worried you're going to disappoint them. Whereas with this, we've caught something on camera nearly every night, and it's just been really fun. So I'd say if you're after a bit of fun, this is going to give you some. If you're in their ecosystem already, perhaps you've got some of their other cameras, then adding this would be, you've already got your ecosystem, you already like the products, you're just adding this. So I think that would be a possible use case. So I hope us having a look at it has just been interesting. I mean, for me, it's been fun exploring it. We've got a link in the description if you'd like to go and have a look at it. It takes you through to their page. They've got a sale on at the minute. It's 240 quid, like I've said, so it's a bit cheaper than 280 quid, which it normally is. Yeah, I mean, I've had fun. So there we go. The next video, we might be looking at the other offering from Reolink. They've got many offerings, but this one is the other offering they're sending me, which is their new CCTV camera. So we'll be taking a look at that, and we'll be using it more for practical things instead of fun. We'll be using it for our hydro intake. We'll be using it to monitor our son playing outside, like I've said. So we'll be having another look at one of their other cameras, or it's going to be the office, which I'm working on at the minute. So if you'd like to come and see what we're up to next, come join us. It'd be nice to have you here, and we'll see you then.